Cobra Kai is a show known for its fights, but which are the best fights? Today I'm going to give you my picks from the best fight from each season of Cobra Kai. Hi, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies and TV way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Let me know your favorite fight from each season of Cobra Kai. My list isn't the right list, it's just my list, and I would love to see yours. And before we go into this, I've done a bunch of other Cobra Kai content talking about the characters this season, season reviews, all that fun stuff. You can check it out right up here in this playlist, and let's get started. Kicking things off with Season 1, I'm going to easily go with the Cafeteria fight at the midway point of the season. Part of the magic of this show is kind of going back to that timeless formula about teenagers finding their confidence, grown-ups finding their purpose, and at the core of this show is that relationship between Johnny and Miguel, and Johnny, as this very unlikely mentor, new Mr. Miyagi, decides to train Miguel, who's being bullied by people at his school, and as he's slowly kind of gaining skill throughout the episodes, you see he's kind of gaining that confidence, and he tries to use it during the previous few episodes and kind of gets beaten up a little bit. He loses and doesn't quite work out. But you get to that midway point in the cafeteria scene. He stands up not just for himself, but for Samantha and her reputation, as she's starting to realize all of her friends aren't really friends at all. And they don't know what they've gotten themselves into, and Miguel just beats the crap out of all of the people that have been bullying him, with everyone watching and people filming it. So you get the satisfaction of him finding his confidence and being awesome at something. You get the satisfaction of bullies getting put in their place, and as Cobra Kai is struggling to get started, you have Miguel do something that puts Cobra Kai on the map as something that works, can help you stand up to bullies, and make it so you can be very cool like Miguel. So just on all these different levels, it's so satisfying. Like when he wins the fight, the music cue comes in. It's just an awesome moment showing how this show does a really good job of building tension, having setbacks, conflict, and then these big moments of payoff. And that was the big one where you really understood, oh, this show can be really cool when everything comes together. And of course, you get Miguel using trays, rolling across desks or tables, kicking people in the face. All the things you want to see happen to bullies, it happens in this fight. So, without question, this was my favorite fight from the season. For Cobra Kai Season 2, of course, I think you have to go with the school fight. The entire season was about the growing tension between these two groups of teenagers throughout the summertime, and then everything starts to kind of fall apart at that party the night before school starts, and in the episode prior to, where tensions are sky high, and even with all the love triangles going on, wrong people smooching with the wrong people at the party, and the worst people possible, seeing that taking place, and then they go back to school where they're all in this one confined space. The tension is just as rock as it can be. The powder keg has been lit, and things just explode day one at the school, and you just get this long fight trying to pay off each one of these conflicts that's been brewing throughout the entire summer. And there's all these little kind of moments in there where the friendship between Dimitri and Hawk has completely deteriorated. Dimitri owned Hawk just a little bit at the party, kind of calling him out about being a bedwetter. Hawk's out for revenge. And even though, at this point in time, don't really like Dimitri on the show, he's still kind of insufferable, Hawk is kind of turning into a monster. So seeing Dimitri just kind of deliver one good kick and knocking him into a case, there's something very satisfying about that. And then, of course, you have each of the other kind of fights going on there. Big one between Sam and Tori, their first big, gigantic, epic fight that goes down, that sets the stage for kind of the next 3 seasons of the show, with the tension between them, Sam's insecurity and trying to defeat this person that tried to commit felonies against her. And so you get a lot of that, and so much of it is actually kind of brutal as they're like falling downstairs, being dragged, hair pulled. And then the final big one there in there is Miguel and Robbie as the biological son of Johnny and the surrogate son to Johnny, the mentoree of Johnny. Two of them just duking it out. It's as personal as can be. And Miguel learns and does the right thing and chooses to slow down and show mercy. He's learning from Gianni, and Robbie, who's learning from Daniel, the more peaceful side of things, has this dark side to him. And when someone shows mercy, he's just seeing red and keeps fighting and kicks Miguel off the balcony, obviously leading to serious injury. Kind of establishing on the show, while it's certainly hyper reality, they're like, why aren't the police getting more involved? And why aren't the parents getting more involved in some of this stuff? At the same time, there's actual stakes for these actions. If you have a gigantic fight that goes insane and people are getting kicked off balconies, people get injured. So even in season 2, they're establishing, like, there are consequences for actions that once again play out over the next several seasons. Season 3, I have to go with the house fight in the finale. I was tempted to go with the fight with Gianni and Daniel going after Kreese and Robbie stepping in, but it's just not as memorable of a sequence. Like the house fight, you say the house fight, everybody knows what you're talking about. Once again, we've had months of tension building where the Cobra Kai kids have turned into just a full-blown band of hooligans committing felonies, breaking Dimitri's arm, and they need to be stopped. And you get to a point in time where they literally are breaking into LaRusso's house, looking for trouble, looking for a fight, and the Miyagi-Do kids are ready to give it to them. You have some of those big, long takes where you're just going to have all this chaos going on. And, you know, if you go frame by frame, you can see some of the flaws and some of the choreography and all of that. But that they're going for this big, epic fights. And Samantha kind of finally finding her confidence again and battling it out with Tori. And so it's the one where you really remembered. And especially you're in the middle of it. And Hawk snaps out of his insanity to realize, what am I doing? Like, he's been my friend a long time, and like we're trying to like kill him. That's not good. I think I might be on the wrong side here. So it switches sides, so you get a little redemptive arc. You have someone finding their confidence, and lots of fighting going on. But like I said, the fight with the adults at Cobra Kai Dojo, there's a lot of good stuff in there too. Of Johnny not trying to fight Robbie and still accidentally knocking Robbie out when he runs into a wall, and Daniel using the stuff that Chosen taught him to disable Kreese. A lot of really cool stuff in there, as you'll notice in the pattern with this, and as you were probably expecting. The finales are kind of known for having a bunch of really cool epic fights. Season 4, I'm going with the fight between Tori and Sam. And what was so cool about Season 4 of Cobra Kai is because it set the tournament as the target for the whole season, everyone kind of had a character or a journey, rivalries that pay off in the last 2 episodes. So the last 2 episodes have a ton of awesome fights, not just because they're a bunch of well-choreographed fights with the kids punching and kicking each other in the face, but because each one of those fights matters for the character, the choices they make, the victories they have, all of it ties into so much more than just the fight itself. And probably the ultimate example of that is this long-running rivalry between Tori and Sam, where on the Tori side of things, she's starting to soften a little bit, and she wants to win, and she wants to properly defeat this person. She has a lot of anger towards Sam over past things, but because of Amanda's kind of working with her, she's not the psycho anymore. She's trying to properly win the fight, do it the right way. She doesn't want to hurt Sam. She just wants to win something. And so you can see that in her actions and the choices she's making. But Sam, on the flip side of things, is fighting a person who has committed felonies against her. Multiple felonies in multiple seasons. And so she just views her as this very dangerous, vicious person. And there's also something to the fact that this is where Johnny and Daniel kind of actually overcome their differences that go back 35 years in this tournament, where there's been so many rivalries. They tried to work together to try to train each other, that my way's the right way, your way, mine's the right way. So much bickering, and at the tournament, they realized, no, the kids had it right. There isn't the right way. There's just the way that's right for the person. And this fight is kind of where they come together, using Sam as kind of the person to represent that, or even where they announce the mentors, the coaches for each of them. And Daniel wants to make sure that Gianni is also recognized as a 2-time winner. So you have this fight where Samantha, who's worked very hard to learn multiple styles of karate, is battling against someone that she finds dangerous, but the person's actually not dangerous anymore. And so Tori's actually apologetic when certain things happen, and Sam gets hurt a little bit because she didn't mean to do it, but Sam's only able to interpret it in light of all her past history, which says she probably did that on purpose. It's just so many layers to everything taking place, and then you get to the end of it, Tori wins, and she's really proud of herself, and the audience are pretty skeptical of the fact, like, something seemed fishy about that, and then she learns she didn't really win. Sam actually won, and this thing that she's so proud of, like, just this sinking feeling, even in the victory, she didn't earn it, and she's grown enough that she cares about that. It's not just about winning, it's about how you win, and so it's just, like, such a satisfying, heartbreaking culmination of so many plot lines with fun karate too. And finally, for season 5, of course, we're heading to the finale, and we're gonna go with the Terry Silver versus Chosen fight. But I was a little bit tempted to go with the Gianni freaks out on all the senseis fight as well, because it's just really fun when you're watching Gianni kind of getting the crap kicked out of him, and then he like remembers, I'm fighting for something, not just against something. I'm fighting for this baby that's on the way, and just stands up and starts beating the crap out of the dudes, and it's so vicious that like fingers are getting cut off, and all sorts of wild, crazy stuff is happening, and then Mike Barnes jumps in at the last second. That's really cool. As is typical with the finales, they're normally like 95% awesome fights and payoff of everything up to that point in time. But I think I just have to go with the Chosen Terry Silver fight because it was so set up all throughout the whole season, right? From the second episode where Chosen goes undercover and Chosen kind of wins over Terry Silver until he accidentally says something that gives away the fact that he's, in fact, not who he says he is. And then, I mean, you have that next scene in episode 2 of the season where Chosen just easily defeats all of Silver's American senseis, and Chosen delivers that threat to Terry, you're going to beg for mercy. And all throughout the season, we've seen all these moments where Chosen pulls out his sais and how these are for defense, not for slicing, but he never actually uses them. And then we get to the finale, and these two people well established as dominant fighters, where we've seen Chosen beat up Gianni before. We've seen Chosen beat up a ton of people, alluded to how dangerous he really is. We've seen Silver beat up Gianni. We've seen Silver beat up Daniel. And then we have Chosen, who Daniel was able to defeat back in Karate Kid Part 2, but is much more mature and fighting for something more noble now. And the two of them just duking it out with actual katana and sais, and like slicing body parts, blood spraying everywhere. It's the stakes danger, and you don't know who's going to live and die in this situation. And so just kind of takes everything the show's about, elevates it, develops an epic rivalry that kind of pays off in a way that kind of makes a bit more sense, that you don't want people that have already been beaten by Terry Silver to just magically be able to beat him. So you bring someone else in who kind of is on a different level of, you know, a couple karate kids from the Valley versus guy trained from a young age in Okinawa. Kind of thinking on different levels here. And Silver, Vietnam vet, really dark, shady guy. Let's have the two really dangerous people, not the two Valley kids. Two dangerous people duke it out with actual weapons, maybe to the death. That's cool. That is really cool. And they were able to deliver that in the finale. And again, it's also fun to see Daniel use the crane kick against Terry Silver. So there's so many possible great moments here that you can pick from the finales. And I went through it and I didn't want to have so many of these be just the finales, but everyone knows that's what this show does really well, is the finales. And, you know, I'm sure a bunch of people would pick the finale of season 1 as opposed to me picking the Cafeteria fight, but the Cafeteria fight is better than the tournament in season 1. So anyway, I'm rambling here at the end. If you want my other Cobra Kai content, you can check it out right over there. Seasons ranked, characters ranks, the final fights in the Karate Kid movies, and the first several seasons of Cobra Kai. All that fun stuff right over there. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.